SMU enters a new era under Rhett Lashlee after Sonny Dykes left for TCU, and I'm really excited to see what Lashlee can do with a program that has been successful, but it also has room for growth, room to improve their potential. This is a team that's been super explosive on offense, and at times has had the talent on defense, but just can never seem to jump over that hurdle defensively. Now, Rhett Lashlee is an offensive mind that's going to keep this offense going, keep them explosive, especially with the talent that they have returning. But it's going to come down to what can the defense do, and can recruiting stay on the same level, if not get better. But I think that this is a team obviously is heading in a different direction, but I don't think it's a bad one. I think this is one that is going to be a fun team to watch, one that will compete in the AAC, and it's just a matter of can they take that next step and compete for conference championships. Tanner Mordecai returns after a 39 touchdown season, threw for over 3,600 yards under Sonny Dykes, and I'm really excited to see what Rhett Lashlee can do for him. What can they do together to make this offense even better? Because Mordecai obviously can sling the football. He's very accurate, and it just comes down to he had 12 interceptions last year. I'd like to see that number go down, but I'd also like to see him take another step. I think he can throw for over 4,000 yards. They have the talent on offense to be able to do that, and it just comes down to consistency even more. And I really like his arm talent. I like the types of throws that he can make, and if he can just limit those turnovers, I think that's a big step. Obviously, we talked about the defense needing to do what it needs to do to keep SMU at the top of the conference to be able to compete for those conference championships. But Tanner Mordecai can also play a role in that. And if he does, this offense is going to be even more terrifying. The defense doesn't get a ton of love, and it's pretty obvious why they don't. But they still have some talent that we need to talk about. And we're going to talk about a few guys here that I'm very excited to watch. Turner Cox is the first one. I think he's a super versatile defensive player. Either they use him on the edge, at linebacker. I think they can move him all around the field, and he's comfortable wherever he plays. He's a guy who's a natural playmaker. He knows what he's doing on the field, and it's going to be fun to see what he can do now with that full year of experience in 2021 under his belt, a year in which he kind of had a little bit of a breakout season. I think he can take it the next step. This front seven is going to be super talented, and they're going to face a lot of explosive offense, which means that they're going to need the front seven to step up. You're looking at a defense that it really is the X factor year in and year out for SMU. The Mustangs just need their defense to be good or even opportunistic. We looked at some of the AAC teams in the past that had super explosive offenses. They also had defenses that maybe weren't elite in shutting teams down, but they were good at creating turnovers. And if Turner Cox and the defense can do that, I really like what SMU can do in 2022. Devere Levelston is getting some attention at the next level. I think people are seeing his explosive playmaking ability, and you saw that last year with his 10.5 tackles for loss and 6.5 sacks. He got the attention of plenty of people in the conference, and he's going to get attention at the next level as he already has. Again, this is a front seven that has a ton of talent, and Levelston is one of those guys that really can be a big-time playmaker. He can provide the havoc for this defense that he can wreak on an opposing offense. And like I said, the front seven, if it's doing its part, then you don't have to worry about a ton on the backside. Levelston's partner in crime, Elijah Chatman, is also returning, and these two are going to be the two guys where you can't focus too much on one because the other is going to thrive. Now, Levelston is the better of the two, but Chatman is just as good. He's just right there, maybe a little bit underneath him. And I think that teams are going to focus on Levelston and maybe Turner Cox a little bit more, which allows a guy like Chatman to step up and play a big-time game and provide big-time plays when they need him the most. Because when you're getting one-on-one situations, especially when you're going against a tackle or even against a guard, if teams are shifting their blocking to one or two guys or to one side of the field, that opens things up on the other, and Chatman's going to be the biggest beneficiary of that. While Rashee Rice wasn't the leading receiver for SMU, he's still a reliable option for Tanner Mordecai, a familiar face that's going to be nice to have returning. And you look at his production from last year, 670 yards and 9 touchdowns. he is going to be the stability that this offense needs. Now, they do add a couple pieces that are going to be fun to watch. I'm excited about how explosive this offense can continue to be, even with some of their losses. Danny Gray is gone, Reggie Roberson is gone, Ulysses Bentley is gone, but they have guys like Rashee Rice who can be explosive at times, but more importantly, can be reliable. Joshua Moore initially committed to Texas Tech, but decided to come to SMU, and I think that was a better fit for him. When you look at what he is capable of doing, we've seen some explosive plays from him at Texas, and I think that that's something SMU really needs. They need that Reggie Roberson or a Danny Gray to be an explosive playmaker and take the top half of defense. Now, there's another guy that can do that. There's a handful of guys that I'm super excited about, and it just comes down to which one of them is going to step up. You see Jordan Curley could be a guy that does it. Beau Corrales could be that guy. But Joshua Moore can also be that player that steps up and makes life easier for Tanner Mordecai that takes the top off defense or even opens things up for Rashee Rice underneath. We talked about the secondary and how important it is for them to improve. And Bryan Massey is an all AAC type talent that can be the playmaker they need. Now, there's obviously some pieces that need to be fixed, that need to be identified coming in this year at the other safety and cornerback positions. But Bryan Massey is going to be that driving force that keeps them on pace and on track to be a consistent group or that opportunistic group. Again, you don't have to be elite if you're turning the ball over frequently enough. We saw that happen with 2017 UCF. Now, I'm not saying this is the same team. That's just an example of a team that was really good offensively, that took care of the football, but also turned the ball over to their offense on defense. So you're looking at a defense that has the talent to do that. They can be disruptive. They just have to do that and give their offense more opportunities to score. Ulysses Bentley left for Ole Miss, which leaves Trey Siggers to be one of the contributing running backs. And honestly, even with Bentley gone, this is a deep running back group. You look at Siggers is going to be that starter, and we're going to talk about another guy here in a sec. But there's a bunch of guys that's going to create depth. Even if you get a couple guys hurt, you still have good talent that can step up in his place. And you look at what he did last year. Honestly, at times, he was the best running back easily for SMU. So it's almost like they're almost treating it like they lose a backup running back in Ulysses Bentley. And that's not an insult on Ulysses Bentley. He's very good, but Trey Siggers was a more consistent player, and that's a reason why they have so much optimism for their rushing attack. We mentioned Beau Corrales before. He averaged 18.3 yards per catch in his limited time at North Carolina last year, and that was just in 4 games. I think that we're talking about explosive playmakers. Corrales could be that guy. Jordan Curley could be that guy as well. There's so many options for Tanner Mordecai, and I'm really excited to see what Rhett Lashlee can do to utilize all of this talent, especially at wide receiver, but also at running back. But more importantly, what can the passing attack do to spread out the field? A lot of people are excited about what Camar Wheaton can do for this rushing attack. Now, we already mentioned Trey Siggers, TJ McDaniel, and Ryan Levine are also back. But people are really excited about what Camar Wheaton brings to the table. The former 5-star and Alabama commit is now at SMU after coming via the transfer portal, and he joins an offense that he's going to love. He's going to love what this team is doing, and it's going to be really fun to see how he fits and if he can be that starter that everybody expects him to be. And honestly, it's really tough to put 10 guys just in this list. Camar Wheaton could have been higher, could have been lower. You look at some of the other guys we didn't mention. We didn't talk about, put on the list, I should say. TJ McDaniel, Ryan Levine, Jordan Curley, even Preston Stone. A lot of people thought he'd beat Tanner Mordecai, but obviously that didn't work out. But Preston Stone is the future, and I'm really excited to see what he does in Rhett Lashlee's system. SMU, like I said, they have the talent to be competitive with the top teams in the AAC. They just have to do it. They have to be consistent, and they have to show up in big games. That's one of the things that Rhett Lashlee needs to fix, is in big games, can they step up and can they win those games? With the talent they have on this roster, there's no reason they can't, and it's going to be really exciting to see what Lashlee is able to do to help them take that next step.